Greetings, today is November the 6th of 2025. One of my longtime viewers, his name's Trevor.
My name is Trevor.
Is becoming a tad impatient with the reveal of my full 55 Central Park West model. So I'm going to go ahead and jump to that. I had some other steps planned in between. I may back up and do those as like a making of. Number one, I need to credit Derek Osborne and Richard Ridley primarily with their contributions to this. Also my nephew Tucker Hammock. But I hope you will excuse the crudity of this model because I didn't have time to fully paint it and it's not entirely to scale. So for today, I have only erected a 4-foot diameter section of 55 Central Park West. I've actually built enough street and buildings to do the full 12-foot 3-block section, but this is enough for today. Also, this is my LA reconstruction right here. So these existed simultaneously, one on each coast. There was an ambulance in New York. There was an ambulance in LA. There was some weird little farmhouse right next door. You remember how Laszlo Kovacs talked about the softer, more northern lighting in New York versus the harsh, angular winter lighting in LA? Well, that's why they had to silk it, to get stuff to match. But this was a real functional city street, and so they had to block off just these 3 lanes of traffic, keep these 3 lanes open as often as possible.
In Cinephex 17, Chuck Gasper notes, in New York, we worked 22 hours on the day that the earthquake in front of 55 Central Park West was filmed.
I think he means just the earthquake/sinkhole sequence was a 22-hour day. I don't think he means the entire 55 Central Park sequence. I'll explain why. So the first thing they would have shot was the arrival of the Ghostbusters. Then they'd have redressed the street with pre-made concrete sections, including the one that the police car goes down in, but not a full police car, one that they had chopped the nose off of. So that means in New York, they had to have 2 duplicate cars like this. Then the real actors, not the stuntmen, climb out of the fake hole, say a couple lines of dialogue, and they all go inside the building. Next, they shoot the nighttime sequences of all the extras out here and the stunt people performing as rubble and stuff falls down on them. And one more redress has to occur when they add all of the marshmallow debris. Now, some of this was pre-made and some of it was sprayed on. In at least one shot, it was a matte painting. Some actually funny stories about the creation of that, and some of it shows up in a scene you might not expect in the movie. Cinefex issue 17, page 17, Chuck Gasper talks about developing a marshmallow-like substance that could be sprayed on the New York location to match the large marshmallowy set pieces that they had constructed. And you remember this creepy scene with the stretching door where it looks like the terror dog's trying to push his face through? It wasn't a terror dog. That was formed by irregularly shaped pieces of foam, which were early tests for the standing mounds of melted marshmallow required later in the film. There's even a continuity error. Producer Michael C. Gross talks about this continuity error on page 190 of Making Ghostbusters. The reason I really don't think that it was all shot in a single 22-hour period is this redress of marshmallow splatter that was seen both in daylight when they leave the next morning and at nighttime. That really complicates matters.
Plus, in 1999, Harold Ramis said it took 3 days.
I wish I had a red Prince bit of rubble to go approximately here. I don't have one of those. Maybe I should talk to David and Nell about 3D printing me one.
And at this point in time, nothing of Dana's Zool dress had ever been filmed. The costume wasn't even designed yet, hence the robe.
And then after the whole night passes in a couple of hours, the Ghostbusters and Dana emerge triumphant and get in the car and drive off.
Thus concluding the New York location shoot.
Would you please, for the love of God and your own bodies, hold the damn hammering?
Yet another off day where I could be filming on the deep dive into the sinkhole video, and something's come up.
This is it. This is the sign. It's a sign, all right. Going out of business.